Welcome to the Restored Hope podcast, where we talk about domestic abuse, trauma, grief recovery, stories of hope, and resilience. In each episode, we'll discuss various topics such as why women stay in abusive relationships, the impact of domestic abuse on the victim's health and the children, overcoming adversity, and many more. The podcast provides helpful information to support, inspire, and empower you to regain your confidence and help you on your healing journey to move from that place of pain into your God-given purpose. I am your host, Bisi Gbadebo. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Restored Hope podcast. I have a guest with me today who will be sharing a story of being a victim of domestic abuse to survivor, now thriving and helping others to thrive as well. I will tell you a little bit about her and we'll let her introduce herself. Her name is Jola Grace Emmanuel, aka the Soul Doctor. Jola Grace helps the broken, hurt, emotionally wounded, and abused to heal, recover, develop the ability to believe in their abilities and feel good about themselves. She is a mental health advocate, a certified life coach, a neuro-linguistic programming therapist, and emotional freedom technique and matrix re-imprinting therapist. She has come from a place of pain, low self-esteem, depression, and suicide ideation to a place of confidence, wholeness, fearlessness, and purpose. She has a mandate to help people understand relationship dynamics so they can live their best lives, feel good about themselves, recover from traumatic experiences, develop healthy self-esteem, boost self-confidence, and self-worth for maximum productivity in every area of their lives. Wow. You're welcome to the show. And thank you for honoring my invitation.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Can you please introduce yourself to our listeners? Who is Jola Grace? And who is the doctor?
You said a lot of it already. I am Jola Grace Emmanuel. I am the soul doctor. My name is Jola Grace Emmanuel, and I'm passionate about the health and the healing of the soul because I'm a person of faith, and I believe the Bible says in 3 John 2 that I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So I believe that the prosperity of the soul is the foundation for the prosperity of every other area of your life. So I just really focus on the soul, helping people feel good about themselves, helping people love themselves, helping people look into the mirror and like what they see, accept themselves, rediscover themselves. And, particularly I help those who have been broken, those who have been betrayed, those who have been hurt, those who have been abused, because it's not just only the abused people that are brokenhearted or hurt. There might be somebody that's had a nasty upbringing, where the parents were not there. It might be for this person and the person was just broken. It might be a neighbor. It might be a boss in a place of work that, really psychologically or mentally took advantage of this person. It might be a friend that, disappointed you and you just couldn't believe that your friend could disappoint you like that and you find it difficult to move on. It might be a sibling. Sometimes there's siblings conflict and it's just so hard. The level of disappointment, of betrayal is so much that some people just find it difficult to move on in their lives. And this actually gets them stuck in life. They're not able to rise above that hurt, that betrayal, that mistake. And so they're just struggling through life. So I help people to rise up, to rise above their hurt, above their pain, above their betrayal, above their abuse, above anything that has wounded their soul, because the soul is very fragile. Our soul consists of our mind, it consists of our emotions and our will. And when there's something wrong with the soul, it will negatively affect every other area of our lives. So I think that's me in summary.
Thank you for sharing. So, wow, you're welcome again. You're welcome to the Restored Hope podcast. So when and where did you meet your ex-husband?
I actually met him in a fellowship on campus. He was the pastor of the fellowship, and I was a member of the campus fellowship.
Okay. And when did you get married? Was there courtship and marriage? And when did you start noticing abuse in that relationship?
I got married in 2001, and I was in the marriage for 16 years. So that was 16 years of domestic violence. I would say the signs of abuse were there even before the marriage. But they say that what you don't know cannot hurt you, but I beg to differ. That is the greatest fallacy of all time. That is actually what you don't know that is hurting you, and what you don't know that has the potential to actually kill you. In fact, the good book says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge."
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
For a very long time, I did not know that I was being abused. I didn't know what the signs of abuse were. I didn't know that is abused, and because it was a religious setting as well, you just tend to think that, okay, it's because this person is a position of authority, this person is the pastor, you are the member, or this is a man and you are the woman, and you're supposed to be submissive. But being submissive is not the same thing as being in subjection.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
There's this law in the UK that talks about Coercive Control Act, and recently they were reviewing the law, and they got this lady who was the attorney, defense attorney for Sally Callum, to look into the act of homicide when it comes to domestic abuse, because it is so amazing to realize that domestic abuse is just much more than the physical abuse.
Oh yes.
The coercive control affects you psychologically, emotionally, and mentally. And that is absolutely much more dangerous, because it just takes your essence and your being away from you.
Oh yes.
And when they were describing coercive control, they said it means that another human being is controlling you, taking away your liberty and your freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I heard that, that took me back to Genesis chapter 1, that when God created us, when God created the world, he made the animals, and he told the man to rule and to dominate over the animals, to control the animals, not the woman. When he created the woman, he brought the woman to the man. The man looked at the woman and said, "This is the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh." She was created to be nurtured. She was created to be cherished. She was created to be loved, not to be controlled. So it's sometimes we get this wrong in our mind, and we begin to believe that what is wrong is actually what is right. So the signs had been there, but I didn't know, because I didn't know it was abuse.
So if you could share with us, what were the signs that you noticed but didn't know was abuse? Those signs that you didn't recognize then, when you now knew it was abuse, what were they?
I would say from the beginning, there's been coercive control, which I said is psychological and emotional abuse.
Yeah.
You not having the freedom to do what you want to do, or to go where you want to go, and it's important for us to know that God did not, even God doesn't control us.
Oh yes, it doesn't.
He's the creator of the whole wide world, but yet he has given man the power of choice. He makes us, it says, "Choose you this day whom you will serve."
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when people are coming to me and saying, "Oh, they have been believing God for this marriage," I'm like, do you really think that this marriage is the most important thing to God? That God will now force himself to do something that both parties have not chosen to do? Now, God sent his only begotten son to die for the whole of the world. He shed the blood of his son. And he said, "This is, I desire that all men be saved."
Yeah.
That's what God wants. But if I ask you today, are all men saved?
Not
Is
at all.
Everybody in the world saved?
Absolutely not.
Don't you think that if God was a controlling God, he would have just made everybody by force be saved?
Yeah. By now, everyone would have been saved. Yeah, everyone would have been saved.
Exactly. He's not giving us the power of choice. Choose this day whom you will serve.
Yes.
Choice. So if God does not control us, even as far as it's God, Why should another human being be controlling another human being? It is wrong.
It is.
Because we have all been created as individuals. We all have our own purposes. We have our own race to run.
Mm.
So those are some of the things that were there. The control was strong. The restraint from doing things was strong. It was either my way or no way.
Oh,
And
wow.
the name calling was there. The embarrassment in public, all of that were there, and it aggravated even to physical abuse as well. Because I normally say one thing, that abuse tolerated becomes aggravated.
Yeah, it's true. So were all these signs before you got married? Were all these signs in the relationship before you got married, as in the control of,
Yeah, the control was there, and again there was some questionable behaviors which I kind of just explained away. But all the signs and the controls were there. Yeah.
Oh yes. You see, I think when during courtship we tend to just overlook things and think,
yes.
hey, yeah. Then again, we might not even know that those signs are abuse signs, abuse. We just overlook it, or even if someone points it out to us, we just think, they'll just say, like how people would say that you just have to be submissive, or you just have to endure. Especially that part of, you going to your husband's house means it's a place to learn. You heard that word before, that it's a place to learn.
Place to suffer.
It's a place of learning or something. Yeah, it's a place of learning, as if it's a school, that you learn there. So, and so when we notice all these signs, you think, okay, maybe that's again. Sometimes you come from a home that is abusive as well, so you think it's normal when it's not. Yeah. So, well, we thank God, thank God for life, thank God. So, you've already told us how long you were in the relationship for 16 good years. 16. Wow. So, why did you stay for 16 years? 16. Was there a reason for staying for that long, or?
Thank you. I get asked this question a lot. Why did you stay for that long?
Because people ask that question, and I have always, sometimes I say to myself, why do people ask, why do you? If you're in my shoes, you would, you are not, actually, you're not in my shoes. So exactly. I think I asked you this question today so that, our listeners, especially those that have not experienced abuse, they will understand why, women stay in abusive relations. That it's not that they want to, they don't want to. That is not what they want, but because of the way things were, or it's difficult to just pick up your things and leave like that. So if you can tell us more about that.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. I'll go back to what I said about knowledge. That my people perish for lack of knowledge, and what you do is really what is hurting you. So if you don't know, for instance, that if you put your hand inside fire, you don't know that it's going to hurt you. Nobody has told you that before. And you see the fire, it's orange, it's yellow, it looks good. So you tell yourself, I'm going to keep going. You see it in front of you, but you keep walking towards it because you don't know. You never heard of fire before in your life. But it's ahead of you. People that are already like, this is fire, they turn back. But you just keep going because why are they turning back? I don't know what that is, but I'm just going to see what it is. It looks interesting. It looks colorful. What you don't know is actually what will hurt you. So that's one. Because like I said, for a long time, I didn't know that this was called, all these acts were called abuse.
Yeah.
Even the religious authorities didn't help because they didn't call it what it was. They just kept saying it is a difficult marriage, it will get better, just be more respectful, be more prayerful. And life was at stake because if you're in an environment of domestic violence, anything can happen to you.
Oh, yes.
I've
Oh,
heard
yes.
stories upon stories upon stories. So
Mm.
that is not one I didn't know. And the people around me also, like the spiritual authorities,
Mm.
then didn't help as well. Secondly, when it comes to psychological abuse, I normally ask people this question when they ask me this question. I said, why do you think somebody
Mm.
will take a knapsack, strap it to themselves, and go and die?
Mm.
Why do you think they do that?
Mm.
Why? Because they have been brainwashed.
Mm.
They, at that point in time, what they are doing is the best. Like all of every other person, you people, you don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know anything. All of you, you are wrong.
Mm.
Because they've been brainwashed. That's the power of the mind.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
we use it as a coach. I use it for my clients a lot in the positive side, telling
Yes.
them to affirm, to recite their affirmation, and they begin to tell me that things are actually getting better. They are feeling good about themselves
Yes.
because now they are telling their brain good things.
Yes.
And so it also works in the negative. When
Mm.
someone looks at you and keeps telling you that you better be happy that I married you,
Mm.
you a favor by marrying you. If I
Mm.
somebody else will marry you, you are not good for anything. You
Oh,
are
wow.
stupid, you are foolish, you are useless. When you keep hearing that over and over and over again, it gets
Mm-hmm.
subconscious and you
Mm.
begin to believe it that
Mm.
nobody loves me. I
Mm.
can't leave. If I leave, there's nowhere for me to go.
Mm-hmm.
There's no life. I had somebody, a spiritual authority, told me that you don't have a life outside that man.
Wow.
Not just the man say it, another spiritual authority said it to me. So
Wow.
in my head, all of those things were going into my subconscious
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't have a choice.
Mm.
I was brainwashed to believe that I did not have a choice and I had to stay in that terrible, horrible place in
Mm.
the name of marriage.
Mm.
So I would say those are the basic reasons, why it happened like that. And also, abusers keep you in isolation.
Yeah.
They only allow you to relate with people that think like them.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
people that will say the same thing that they will say, people that see things the way they see, those are people that they will allow you to mix with. But anybody that believe will reason normally, they will shield you away from them.
Mm. Wow. So the all the church leaders and no one at all that you were able to run to or to speak to about what or what's going on then.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, abusers will isolate you.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there were other people around me that I could speak to, I did not have the opportunity and the freedom and the liberty to speak to them.
Mm.
There was only one person that I was allowed to speak with. And this person thinks like him. So this person keeps saying, don't worry, it will be fine. Keep praying, keep doing this, keep doing that. That person never called it what it was. He never called it abuse. But thank God in his goodness and his faithfulness, God was able to make a way for me to with wisdom get close to other spiritual leaders. And it was actually 1, 2, 3 of them that told me this is abuse. If you want to live, if you want to be alive and look after your children, you need to find your way out of there. Actually, it was a very, very respectable woman of God who is well known in the country of Nigeria, which I'll be forever grateful to, who called my daddy. This woman of God picked up her phone. There was a day there was an incident and it was throwing things and abuse was going on, and I ran and hid in the toilet and I called this woman of God. I said, "He started again, I'm scared." And she said, "Jola, is your daddy still alive?" I said, "Yes, my dad. Give me your daddy's number." And immediately she found my dad and told my dad, "If you want your daughter's life, if you value your daughter's life, go and take her away from that man before he kills her." So, that's what I said about shielding you. They shield you from those they know that know what they are doing.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I mean, in saying that it wasn't religious, yes, the person God still used to bring me out of that dungeon is a woman of God.
Wow. Thank God. Thank God. So were your parents, were they involved, as in, do they know about the abuse then? Were have they, during that time, did
Yeah, I mean, my parents got to know for the first time in 2016. That was when this woman of God rang them. So
okay.
that was
Oh,
the first
wow.
time, yeah, they got to know. That was in 2016. That was the first time they got to know. And ever
Wow.
since,
Wow.
and I eventually left in 2017 because there were no changes, um, and all of that. So yeah.
So how did you get out of that relationship? How were you able to leave with all,
Uh,
the
it was
control?
well. I mean, I left without him knowing, and it was with the help of my parents,
Mm,
just my parents and this woman of God that I said.
mhm,
Uh, well, along with my parents, they just felt that there was danger,
mm,
and they just had that strong intuition that something terrible was going to happen, and I also felt it. Actually,
mm, mm,
could smell death around
mm,
me.
mm,
I could smell it was very thick in the air. So
mm.
with that, God just gave them wisdom, gave my parents and this woman of God wisdom, and they just arranged everything. And that's how I left. Yeah,
Wow, thank God for your life.
thank God.
God really needs you alive, because
Yes.
He's got plans for you. He's got plans for you. He knows that, this child of mine, there's something, I've got in store for her, and the devil is
Mm,
he's
mm,
not
mm,
was not happy about that. And really, so, but we thank God, for life. We thank God that you're alive and well, and touching the lives of others today.
mm.
So how about your children? Did they see any of this happening, or were
Oh
they
yes.
still young?
Well, I mean, they grew through it, but I would say one of the major mistakes I also made was that I shielded my children a lot from a lot of the incidences.
Mm,
And because if you know anything about
mm,
narcissists, they are like two-faced people.
mm,
So when other people are there, they
mm.
are very nice.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
talk
yes,
in a
yes.
very quiet, oh, darling, how are you?
Mm,
Once it's just you and them, the dragon, the
mhm,
beast comes out.
mm,
And so when you tell people, which was quite my situation, when I was telling people after I left, about the abuse, people were in shock.
mhm,
People
mhm.
was like, no, it's not possible. How? And all of that.
Yeah. Yes,
You
that's true.
understand? So
That's true.
a lot of times, because I still didn't want my children to see their dad as a bad person, I
Mhm,
shielded them from a lot of the abuse.
mm,
And because I know the triggers, I know what will even trigger a physical abuse.
mm,
So even when I see that the trigger is about to come, so he asks me to do something, and
mhm,
sometimes I feel that this thing is not what I should be doing, it's
mhm,
not in my place to do, and insist to do it and all of that. If
mhm,
I refuse to do what he asks me to do, then the next thing will be, don't let me do something I will regret. You will just start getting aggressive, and then
mm,
the next the hitting will happen. So a
mm,
lot of times when my children were around, were there, I
mm,
just quickly go and do whatever I've been asked to do, so that my children will not see. And even sometimes when it happens when children are not there. When they are coming, I'll just quickly pretend as if everything is okay. So
mm,
I believe, it was, well, maybe it works in both ways, because maybe I'm happy I did that, but on the other side, it probably also made it difficult for them to come to terms with everything that is going on. Not that there were not instances of things that, because again, they too did not know that these things were abuse. So
mm,
now, when they're growing up, my first is 18, it is beginning to see that, okay, these things are not the way people should behave, because you can be so used to bad behavior that you think that bad behavior is good behavior.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Understand? So, I think on both sides, I could have explained things to them and told them this is not the way to behave, this is not good and everything, but I should have a lot
Mm,
of it. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, I'm sure. They one day they would be grateful that that you came out of that abusive relationship,
Oh,
because
yeah.
yeah, that's what I I say to people as well, and to myself then, that, if if you die today, what happens? What happens to the children? What happens to them? Who is going to take care of them?
Exactly.
So yeah, like you said at the beginning, that you come first. Or when you take care of yourself, that's when you can take care of others. And
Absolutely.
I've heard of some children, later in life, blaming their mother for staying, because they now became the enemy of the mother, because she stayed. And she stayed because it really messed up the children's life.
Exactly.
Experiencing that, they are also being abused. The mother is being abused. The children were also.
Yes, they are, and is actually destroying their mental health, because you are allowing them to grow up in a toxic environment. I remember my elder brother, at some point in time, it was when I keep telling you, the people will call me, they will say, I think about the children, because of the children. And my brother said, really? That actually, if these people think about the children, they will not want the children to be in that toxic environment. Now, which one is better for the children? In an environment where there's toxicity, there's always shouting, crying, and we are energy. We carry aura and energy around. If you enter into a room and into a house, and that house there is filled with fighting and arguments, you will feel it, you will know. There's just an unrest in your spirit. So which one is better for the child to grow up in that kind of environment, or with a single parent where there is peace, there is tranquility, there is love, there is joy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's better for the child. It's the environment that is peace that is better for the child. So people keep saying, stay in abusive marriage because of the children, but you are not helping the children. You are actually destroying their life.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. So for our listeners that are listening, what will you say to them, that are in abusive relationship, or they know someone in abusive relationship, and they have children witnessing this, no matter how we shield them, they will still sense it in a way. They will know, because when you're not.
In fact, sorry to cut you. I used to then, there's this thing I say, my youngest is 12 now.
Yeah.
Back then I just realized that anytime there's an incident, maybe an abuse has gone on, and I leave the room and I come down to sit in the kitchen, I'm just sitting in the kitchen, maybe doing stuff, he will always, without fail, just come to me. He will give me a hug and he will give me a peck. And he will just go back and be doing what he's doing. And I always ask myself, how did this boy know that I was feeling like this? How did he know what just happened to me? How? So the children know, they can feel it. You think they don't know, but they do.
They do. Yeah, they do. They do. Because, they know when we are happy. When your mom is happy, she's either probably singing in the house, playing with them and doing that. But when you are now seated somewhere, look, your face looks somehow, they will have noticed, they know the signs of, a person that's happy and a person that's feeling sad. So so for him, probably noticing that there are times mommy will be quiet and, looking sad, or give her a hug. That's yeah. So what would you say to people in such situation that children are seeing or kind of sensing that something is going
on? I would say, with the benefits of hindsight, don't, because it's like you are deceiving the children. Because they say indecision is actually still a decision. So by you not saying anything to the children and just pretending as if whatever is happening is not happening, you are really deceiving the children. So speak about it to the children. I had somebody that went through the same thing, and she was telling me that she normally calls her children and tells them everything. She shows them things that happen, because you are now educating the children. That's what you're doing. So the children know good from bad. They know it's bad behavior. And you tell them that, you don't do this to people. We don't hit people. You don't talk to people anyhow. You show people respect and all of that. So talk about it with your children, because whether by keeping quiet, they are wondering, why is mommy keeping quiet? Why is daddy doing this to mommy and she's keeping quiet? They will not be happy with you, because, and then you are confusing them. They don't know what is wrong from what is right. But if they see that you are standing up for yourself, you are talking to them about what is going on, they are educated and they will not fall into the same scenario in the future. Because, I mean, imagine a daughter that has been through that and the mother does not say anything or leave the abuse, and then goes on in life and meets a man like the father, God forbid, and the same thing repeats itself. But if that tells you that, no, this is what happened that my mother stood up for, I would not accept this. They already know. So we must educate our children. We must speak to them, because our children are wiser than we think they are.
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So what were the things you did to stay, strong in that relationship, to stay sane? Because, 16 years of abuse, emotionally, physically, there are times that you, like when you mentioned you being in the kitchen, just staying there on your own, or do you have some support system? There are times that you need those, even if it's just listening to music or Christian song, Bible reading. What were the things that kept you going in that relationship?
Thank you very much for that question. I will just first of all say God. And when I say God, I'm not just saying that as a cliche. People say, oh, if not for God. No, for me, literally, it was God. And I was sharing a few days ago where we're talking about the foundations that we give our children. The Bible says that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Also, the Bible says our children will be taught of the Lord, and great shall be their peace. And I thank God, because my parents gave me the best foundation any parent can give a child, which is a foundation of a strong faith in God, the foundation of knowing God for myself. I didn't just know about God, I knew God for myself. And I saw my parents lived what they spoke to us about. Didn't tell us to do something and then they were doing the opposite. No. When they tell us to pray, even up, my dad is 79. He still kneels down and does his prayer every day. He wakes up in the night and prays every day. So I thank God for that kind of background that I have. And that is the only thing I held on to. In the midst of everything, in the midst of my confusion that how can somebody that calls himself a pastor be behaving like this? I just knew that God was good. I was able to separate what that person was representing from who God was to me.
Oh, yes.
Many times I remember that if it was through that man that I got to become a Christian, I wouldn't be a Christian today. I don't know. I don't even know what I would be doing, but I definitely wouldn't be a Christian. I wouldn't be going to church again. No, I would not have anything to do with church. Because as far as I was concerned, what was modeled to me was just not acceptable.
Not Christ.
But I thank God because I had that foundation. So I held on to God. I held on to my relationship with God. I absolutely love singing. I absolutely love dancing. And those were some of the things that helped me. So I just sometimes, just even when I can't pray, I just listen to music and just keep listening to worship songs. And, sometimes I can't read my Bible, I listen to my Bible. So, and my children were just totally seeing them, the precious gift that God gives me in them. Also helped me to just keep knowing that God loves me and everything will be okay. So basically those were.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, thanks for sharing that with us. Thank you. When such toxic relationship like that, it's only God. If you know God, that's our only hope, because we know that with Him we can sail through any storm, and that's solid. It's good that your parents gave you that solid foundation, like you said. If it had been through Him that you knew Christ or you became a Christian, which is true. Some people, I've heard of some people that have stopped going to church or even changed their religion. Just
Oh, yes.
yeah, that's if you call yourself, if you call yourself
Absolutely.
a pastor, or why should I come to your church, or why should I become a Christian? Yeah, we thank God for parents.
I'll probably also say the prayers of my parents.
Yeah.
Even though they might not know what was going on, but I know that my parents pray for all their children every day.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm sure their prayers also was part of the things that kept me, through all those periods. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is very important as well, when it comes to prayer, to continue to pray for our children, their relationships. They meet the right person that God, appointed, and say, okay, this is your bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh, that God will lead them to the right homes. And as parents, we continue to pray for them because our prayers does wonders. Yeah. So yeah, God knows, your parents have been praying from day one, and all the things happening that you're able to be here today and helping others. Yeah, if we look back, I'm sure it's part of them praying that you're in that house, but nothing will harm you. Okay, we thank God. Thank God. Thank God for that. So share with us, how did the abuse impact your physical and mental health? Did it impact your physical and mental health in any way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was sharing on my IG live show about stress, talking about stress.
Yeah.
That chronic stress happens to be the cause of about 90% of the illnesses and diseases that people have.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to stress, it's something that happens on your mind, and it automatically starts to manifest in your physical body.
Yes.
Man is the spirit, he has a soul, and he lives in a body, and they are all intertwined. Okay, so I was diagnosed about 10 or 12 years ago. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, even without any history. So I knew that was because of the stress from the marriage.
Oh, yes.
And I had to go on medication for that. I also had cancer. I had skin cancer, which was on my left shoulder. And the doctors kept saying to me, they had to, initially the tumor was there for a while, and then they did the biopsy, and then they said it was cancer and they needed to operate. And they kept saying they've not experienced, and I had the operation here in the UK, a cancerous growth on a shoulder before. So the operation was because the place, there was not a lot of flesh, as you know, on your shoulder. Yeah. So it was quite a delicate them to make sure that they don't damage any of my nerves. And they had to get the graft from my leg, from my thigh, to cover up the place so that the hole there is not, too much, and my nerves are protected, and now with my knowledge of NLP, psychology therapy, I know that when you have a pain on your shoulder, it's because you are carrying a burden of a partner, a spouse. So there is a direct link between the cancer I had and the abusive marriage. So, amongst other things, I suffered with migraine for years and years. In fact, I remember after I left, I just knew that every Sunday afternoon, the migraine is really bad. I will be turning. I will use paracetamol and Panadol, it will not go. I will be turning and toughing and turning and holding my head every single Sunday. I just then realized about 6 months or so after I said, wait a minute, I don't have these headaches again.
Oh, wow.
I didn't use no medication. I didn't use nothing. I suddenly realized that the headaches were gone.
That's it.
Abuse, stress from the abusive marriage. And when you talk about mental health, I had to that decision. I actually attempted to kill myself once, I took overdose because
Wow.
I felt I was useless. As I was saying, I wasn't worth anything. Nobody loved me. Nobody liked me. And I was always a problem. Everything I do causes problems. So, all of that affects my mental health, stripped me of my self-esteem, But I thank God because I've been able to rebuild all of that. And I love life, and I'm helping people to recover and to love themselves, to feel good about themselves, and to accept themselves and pursue their purpose. Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Thank God for your life. Yeah, that part that you mentioned about what the stress we go through in an abusive relationship can lead to different health issues.
Oh, yeah.
That is very important. There's so many cases like that. It is not, and some people will complain of pain, joint pains, fibromyalgia, and so many immune system problems.
Yeah.
And it's all because of this stress that we have stored in. And you, like you said at the beginning as well, that you didn't tell anybody, you didn't tell your parents and all that. We keep this to ourselves because it's like our body is in shock because of what's going on, and we find it difficult to now go out to people and start saying, this is going on, or this is going on. You think, okay, I'm praying to God, things will change, everything will work out. So we keep all this, we store all this stress, we store it, and our body, it's only a little that it can take. After a while, it start manifesting in different ways in our body. It could be joint pains, like you having headaches, and the moment you left that relationship, everything just disappeared. So to all our listeners listening to this podcast, please don't suffer in silence. Don't suffer in silence. Reach out to the loved ones, to those that that can support you, or you call your domestic violence helpline, and it's very important that you stay alive for your children's sake. So when you left, what challenges did you face when you left? Because sometimes when we leave, because I would say even that's one of the challenges that we might face, is one of the reasons some people stay. You understand? Yeah. So so when you left, what challenges did you face?
Thank you very much for that. I think that's quite important. And I think maybe I should also probably say, when you asked why did I stay for so long? So apart from the psychological and the mental brainwash that you can't have a life outside of them, and you also didn't know that what was going on was abuse. Also, the fact that you've been stripped of the power of financial power, because narcissists also make sure that you are dependent on them for every call. So a lot of people cannot live because they don't have money. How are they going to sustain themselves? Because if anybody has truly been abused, you will not have money. Because the abuser makes sure, even if sometimes when you are working, they make sure you spend all your money. They have a way of making sure you always spend all your money and you don't have any savings, because they want you to be dependent on them.
Oh yes.
In my own case, I wasn't even allowed to work.
Oh wow.
I remember there was a time, because I did accounting for my first degree. I have a master's in financial decision analysis, and I was saying I wanted to go and get a job. I wanted to work, and I remember his response to me very vividly. If you refuse to work with me, I will beat you up and send it to your father. I will not recognize you again. So I did not have a choice. I couldn't go and get a job. I had to be working with him, as with the church or whatever it is that he was doing then. There was no organization. He was the one that was doing everything. It was the accountant. So it was whatever he gave me, which was never enough for the house. So this was part of the challenges of, even if you think that you want to live, how are you going to live? How are you going to sustain yourself? This is part of the challenges that, after I left, I had to deal with. But I'm so grateful to God that God, surrounded me with wonderful, beautiful family, amazing friends, and I've been able to get back into work. For the past 4 years, I've been working, I've been earning. I have my own money for the first time, and it feels good. I can't spend my own money. So this also is a challenge for people, but I believe there are organizations, that help people, because there's no reason for you to stay in a domestic environment. There is no reason. Because if you lose your life, what is going to become of you? What is going to become of your children? There is absolutely no reason. What you will think that you will gain, because some people, the man is very rich and they feel that, where am I going to start from? I have a kind of, in my own case, and probably why some people also were like, what, you left? And he also did think that maybe my living was temporary, I was going to come back, because yes, he was a pastor. He had a job of about 500 people. I was the first lady. And he felt that, okay, even all of that glamour will not make me want to leave. Or, hey, I was dying. What is the point of me being dead? And I want to stay with one glamour, or people calling me, what do they call them now? First lady. Oh, my life is more important. My purpose is more important. My destiny is more important than all of that. Sometimes people find it difficult to live because of some things like that, but you need to sit down and have a meeting with yourself and ask yourself important. If you drop dead today, next, give it a few weeks, the man will marry another woman. And that's it. You suffered on the earth. You're going to suffer again. So it's not worth it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that is important for pastors' wives. Pastors' wives that are going through things like this and can't say anything because they're the first lady.
Oh, yes.
I believe there's so many pastors' wives that are going through things that we're sharing right now that can't even say anything to anyone, because who do they turn to? Who would they turn to?
Absolutely.
Who? Because people are looking up to them. God will help all our pastors' wives, and I pray that they would connect with those that would be able to help them. Thank God for your life. Thank God for your life, that you're here and touching lives. So about forgiveness. Did you forgive? That's a big one, isn't it? Forgiveness.
Yeah.
Did you forgive your abuser?
Oh, you know what they say about forgiveness? Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yeah.
Okay, so for your own sake, you have to forgive.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so the kind of analogy I normally use is when you talk about, as a psychologist, I understand that there are personality disorders, and narcissism is a personality disorder.
Oh, yes.
Okay? So I normally ask people that if, so let's talk about psychosis, which everybody knows that, okay, somebody that has psychosis is mad. The way we say it in Africa, this person is crazy, this person is a mad person. So you see a mad person on the road, the person has got a knife, a cutlass, and the person is after you, chasing you, and saying, come, and he's laughing. And would you say, oh, I'm a child of God, I'm a Christian, I need to help this man. Oh, I must help the man. I have to take him to my house. You park it. I say, oh, enter my car, take you to my house, because I'm a child of God, I'm a Christian. Who is going to do that? I don't know if anybody's going to do that. But the probability that anybody will do that is like 0.5%. You will not do that because this person is dangerous. I might lose my life trying to say, hey, I want to show the love of God. I will get us to help him.
Yeah.
Stay far away from him and love him from afar and pray for him from afar. So also sometimes we realize that somebody, because I've heard this before, so maybe if you stay with him, he will get better. Really? So why don't you stay with that mad person? I say, if you stay with him, the person will get better. Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. So the first place to start, that love starts from, is yourself.
Yeah.
And loving yourself means you see danger and you stay away from danger. So I forgive because I am a child of God, and unforgiveness. So unforgiveness is like you see the person, you see the picture, and then you start getting upset. Your mood changes. You say, oh, well, I don't need that. I don't need that. So I'm forgiven. I don't wish him any evil in his life. He will meet whatever happens, the future. I've moved on, And sometimes people say forgive and forget. And I say, show me where that is in the Bible. Because if you forgive and forget, I'm sorry that I'm going to use this word, but you're not just wise. You're not a wise person. Because if you forget that fire was hot the last time you touch it, you will go and touch it again and you get burnt again.
That's true.
But Apostle Paul says, this one thing I do, forgetting the things that are behind, is a process. It's something that happens over time. It's just like when you have a physical wound. It doesn't just heal overnight. It's a process. And even there is no way. So I have a massive wound on my shoulder. I had the operation in 2015. It's never going to look like my other shoulder where nothing happened to. It's never.
Yeah, that's true.
Even people that have had wound has healed for 50 years, you can still see the scar there.
The scar, it will still be there.
Forgive and forget. That means there will be no scar there at all. No, the scar will always be there. But it's there to help you help other people, to remind you what you should not allow yourself to go through again. The scar is there as a lesson for you and for the people that you are sent to.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's very important. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is for us, the survivor or the thriving survivor.
Yeah.
Those that came out of that abusive relationship. The forgiveness is for us, not for the abuser. Because that's how we can move on. Get up and move on. If we're still oppressed with with all the things that's going on still, even after we are out of it, we can't move forward if that unforgiveness is there. So that's very important. That's very, very, very important, forgiveness, because that's when we can feel free to be able to do all the things that God has called us to do. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So your recovery and healing journey, share it with our listeners, how you recovered and you're here today helping others. So what would that recovery process?
First of all, I would say, let me just say this, that it's okay not to be okay. The society we live in sort of stigmatize mental health challenges. So the first thing I did was to accept the fact that I was not okay. And that it was okay for me not to be okay. And therefore, I sought professional help. I went through a series of therapy. So I went through coaching, and I was able to heal and to discover myself and to begin to gain my self-confidence and my self-esteem. I had people that handheld me for a while, to help me through that journey of healing and the journey of discovering myself, the journey of accepting myself, the journey of loving myself, so I can then begin to love other people and give of myself to my world.
Wow. So how are you now helping others? How are you? I know you've shared a bit about it. So to round up, how are you now helping others to discover themselves?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm a certified life coach. I'm also a certified NLP neuro-linguistic practitioner and emotional freedom technique practitioner. And I have the cognitive CBT in view. So I've done all of that to understand people's mind, understand their emotions, understand their soul. And so I work with clients on a one-to-one basis. So I have a lot of clients that I work with one-on-one on a weekly basis. We meet for sessions. I give them assignments, talk through what they are going through. I help them set goals. Also, I do interventions for them when it comes to therapy to help them overcome self-limiting beliefs. and any negative belief that is holding them down. From time to time, I also have master classes. There's a spiritual master class called Boost Your Self-Confidence. I do that regularly, where I bring people together, in group coaching, help them to, increase their confidence level, because if you don't have confidence, you can't really be productive in any area of your life. And also, I do facilitation. So I do public speaking, I do facilitation training, people, to have good self-esteem, feel good about themselves. And of course, every week on Instagram, I also do an Instagram live on the Bell Moments, where I also educate people and bring guests, from time to time, and share things that will help people just be good and feel good. Yeah.
Oh, wow, fantastic. You're into a lot, See, look at what the devil is trying to destroy. And yes, he failed. He failed totally. Thank God. Thank God that you're alive and well today, to be a mother to your children and also to be fulfilling purpose. Yeah, and to our listeners, and those that know someone or maybe one of their loved ones listening to this podcast, what would you say to them?
I would just say, know yourself. Socrates says the beginning of wisdom is to know yourself. So know yourself and be yourself. Know yourself and be yourself, and don't be secretive. That was part of the mistake I also made. I kept things to myself. And don't allow shame to stop you from getting healing. Don't allow shame. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If you're not okay, if you're having mental challenges, there is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Seek help, seek professional help, and get well. Because when you are well, you can be more productive. You can live a happier life. You can be a blessing to people around you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for, honoring my invitation to
pleasure.
join me
Thank
tonight.
You
Thank you very much. And for all our listeners, those that are in abusive relationships, that you or know someone in abusive relationship, do reach out. Jola is there. I'm here as well. Do reach out and don't suffer in silence. I keep saying that. Don't suffer in silence, because there's help out there for you. And I would like to say thank you again for joining us, Jola. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me this week on the Restored Hope podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at BCG, that's BISSYG, and on my Facebook page, Restored Hope. This is a private group for victims and survivors of domestic abuse, where you can receive support, build your confidence, and be empowered to live the life that you love. You can also send me an email at restoredhope21@gmail.com. If you love the show, please share with friends and families. Also subscribe to the show to catch every episode, and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you amazing content. Thank you for listening. See you next time for another amazing episode. I remain your lovely host, Bisi Gbadibo. Bye for now, and God bless.